Rhea Ripley found herself in quite a predicament on NXT this week. After making a brief appearance to check out the stacked women's division in the developmental brand, the Eradicator was found beaten and bruised in the parking lot. The perpetrators, as expected, were Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Well, Ripley isn't one to take such things lying down, but she needs support. With that in mind, could she reach out to superstars from NXT and TNA for help? The answer to that question is quite possibly yes, especially considering the two superstars are NXT's latest recruit Zarya and former TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordynne Grace. At face value, a partnership with Rhea Ripley may seem out of the blue, but based on last night's episode of the Black and Silver brand, it is certainly a possibility. After all, the Eradicator met the duo last night, posed for a picture, and wished them good luck. For context, Jordynne Grace, Zarya, Julia, Stephanie Vaca, and Kalani Jordan were having an argument before Rhea Ripley came backstage. She wanted to check out the stacked division and wish the women the best of luck for their 10-women tag team match next week. Taking this and the picture above into consideration, Ripley could look to her fellow Aussie Zara and the TNA's own Grace for help against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. It certainly would be quite something if Ripley were to partner up with the two powerhouses. But as things stand, this is nothing more than speculation. We will have to see how things unfold in the coming weeks, especially next Monday on Raw. As mentioned earlier, Rhea Ripley was left in a heap in the parking lot. It was quite a gruesome scene, as referees and officials rushed to her aid, while Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez walked away with a smile. But, as if the beatdown wasn't enough, the women's world champion took to social media to mock her arch-nemesis further. Posting a video of the incident on her Instagram page, it's safe to say Liv Morgan was pleased with her work. Furthermore, she made a mockery of the Eradicator by captioning the post with the latter's iconic catchphrase, Rhea Bloody Ripley. A clear play on words from Morgan, considering bloody is how she left Ripley last night. Things are certainly getting out of hand in this rivalry, which needs to be put to an end quickly. It will be interesting to see how Ripley responds to the attack. Will it be with her words or with violence? Perhaps we will get an answer next Monday on Raw. Imagine Rhea Ripley, the powerhouse of WWE's women's division, faced with a rising challenge from none other than Liv Morgan. Determined to remain dominant, Rhea turns to the idea of forming a formidable faction of her own to counteract Liv's potential influence. But rather than looking internally within WWE, Rhea decides to take a more audacious approach, recruiting a light talent from the rosters of NXT and TNA, Impact Wrestling, to ensure her reign stays unchallenged. This choice to recruit from outside WWE's main roster not only introduces fresh blood, but also raises the stakes in a storyline loaded with anticipation and unpredictability. Here's how this scenario could unfold, along with an analysis of the chances of Rhea Ripley building a faction that could change the landscape of WWE's women's division. Liv Morgan has consistently been one of WWE's most charismatic figures, resonating deeply with the WWE universe. Her unique blend of charm, grit, and surprising resilience has allowed her to stand toe-to-toe with some of the best. Now she's eyeing the title and power that Rhea Ripley holds. With a faction potentially forming around Liv, Rhea finds herself in an unfamiliar position on the defensive. Seeing Liv amass allies begins to worry Rhea. She recognizes that brute strength alone might not secure her dominance. She'll need allies with specific skills to complement her own if she wants to stay ahead in the game. Why look to NXT and TNA? NXT is known as WWE's Talent Factory, a breeding ground for young, hungry wrestlers eager to prove themselves. Bringing up NXT stars is a classic WWE move, and for Rhea, it makes sense. She herself came from NXT and knows the kind of drive that these performers bring to the ring. TNA, or Impact Wrestling, has a different appeal. Despite a smaller platform, Impact Wrestling has created a dedicated fan base and houses some of the industry's most respected veterans and overlooked talent. By reaching into TNA's roster, Rhea Ripley could bring an unexpected edge to WWE and unsettle the roster with unfamiliar faces and styles. Jordynne Grace is an incredible powerhouse in her own right. Known for her unmatched strength and explosive moves, she could stand toe-to-toe with Rhea in terms of physicality, making her the perfect ally. Jordan's style contrasts with Rhea's enough to create an interesting dynamic, but aligns closely enough to create a synergistic effect. By bringing in Jordan, WWE would immediately have a buzzworthy new face who can attract fans of Impact Wrestling and add a level of unpredictability to the division. Jordan's experience in hardcore and intergender matches could bring a ruthlessness that would serve Rhea well in her fight against Liv's potential faction. The chemistry between Jordan and Rhea would hinge on mutual respect. They're both powerhouses but could work together to level anyone who stands in their way. Storyline angle: Jordan enters WWE in an unannounced appearance, surprising the WWE Universe by jumping Liv from behind during a match, aligning herself with Rhea and marking her territory in the new faction. Cora Jade has consistently impressed with her in-ring ability and rebellious, edgy persona. She's gritty and has that underdog with attitude vibe, which would work well to contrast with Rhea's dominating persona. Cora's addition brings in a younger, more unpredictable energy. Plus, with her skateboard antics and creative approach, she could be a wild card in Rhea's faction, unexpected and innovative in her methods. Cora's smaller stature and agility make her an asset in the ring and give her an edge that someone like Rhea lacks. Her inclusion allows for a wide range of storytelling possibilities. She can execute surprise moves, catch Liv's team off guard, and make use of speed and agility where brute strength alone might fall short. Cora's youth and rebellious nature make her the perfect protege for Rhea. She's impressionable but tough, ready to learn from someone as formidable as Rhea Ripley. Storyline angle: Rhea approaches Cora after a grueling match in NXT, offering mentorship and the promise of fast-track success on the main roster if she joins forces. Cora, feeling overlooked in NXT, sees this as her big break and accepts becoming Rhea's right hand. With Jordan and Cora, Rhea's faction would be a blend of raw power, agility, and rebellious spirit. The pairing of these two recruits with Rhea creates a dynamic trio capable of taking on not just Liv's team, but even established factions like Damage CTRL or Judgment Day. Innovative matches: with new faces, WWE could introduce unique match types, blending styles and formats that showcase their talents. Imagine a 3 stages of hell match or a gauntlet match where each member of the faction brings a different fighting style. Inter-promotional appeal: by recruiting from Impact Wrestling, WWE would stir up fan interest across brands, opening doors to future crossovers or one-off appearances that keep the wrestling world buzzing. Character development for Rhea: rather than being a solitary powerhouse, Rhea would grow into a faction leader. She'd need to manage egos, strategize, and potentially make sacrifices, adding complexity to her character. Liv's counterattack: with a strengthened faction backing her, Rhea could pressure Liv into forming an equally diverse team. Liv's options might involve uniting with rivals or even seeking WWE legends for support. This rivalry would add layers to the women's division, with new alliances, betrayals, and character shifts.